Hey, Mitch.
Oh, hey Ed, how are you?
Oh, yeah, great, great. I was just thinking about, wouldn't it be good if we could be, part of something, if I could have my thoughts could, actually do something, not just, what's the word? What am I trying to say?
Like
If I could,
deeds,
sorry?
like deeds, deeds, not words,
Yeah,
deeds.
exactly. And then I was thinking if I could only be part of something bigger, maybe something huge, something humongous, with a lot of a power.
Like mega, yeah, yeah, like Megaforce.
Yeah, that's the word I'm thinking of. Megaforce. Yeah.
Yeah, the movie Megaforce. It came out like in 1982 about the guys in the super elite squad of action dudes that save the world and things. That's why you're dressed like that, right?
Never heard of it. And what do you mean? I always wear this.
Oh, let's just start the show.
Hi, this is Ed Dollister.
This is Mitch Halleck.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure. Before we get to today's topic, Mitch, how can you find out a little bit more about our show?
Well, Ed, I will simply describe it using this elaborate holographic display below. All you do is hit the subscribe button and synchronicity hit the notification bell at the same time, and then you will be notified at 800 hours when the new show drops. And if you want to do it even further, Ed, just hit the like button over there, and we reconnoiter that you will be all set to go when Ed and I launch another attack on the YouTube ways.
That's right. And we are talking about a cult classic. It might not be a classic movie, but it is a cult classic in many people's eyes. The 1982, sadly, it was a flop, but not in everyone's hearts. Megaforce. Now,
Yeah,
did you see Megaforce in the cinemas when it came out?
I couldn't get to the theaters quick enough, Ed. It left so fast. It was a mega bomb. It was out. I'll tell you one thing, though. We all knew it was coming because on the back of every Marvel comic magazine and DC comic magazine for months, all you saw was the word with the words deeds, not words. And there was a brilliant illustration of our hero, Barry Bostwick, standing there with arms akimbo on his hip and looking tough. And it was all about Megaforce, the new hero coming from the director of Smoking the Bandit 1 and 2 and
And the Cannonball
Cannonball
Run.
Run 1 and 2. And Hooper, I think, was the other one. Oh,
He
no,
did
Stroker
Hooper.
Ace. Stroker
Yeah,
Ace.
Cannonball Run 2 hadn't come out yet. I think that came out
Oh,
later
okay.
after.
Well, it would
Um,
eventually come out. Yeah,
yes.
yes. It was a
But
new
I've got
kind
to
of action movie.
Well, guess what? I never saw it in the movies when it came out, but I remember reading about it in the comics and also in. Do you remember Cinema Fantastique
Oh God,
magazine?
yeah. Cinema
So
Fantastic,
yeah,
Starlog, all those magazines, they all had
so they
tons of
had a
cover.
special on it about the special effects where they used intravision, and I was absolutely
Yes.
fascinated about. And we'll talk probably a little bit about that in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
remember reading about that and going, "This looks really cool."
It
And then
did look cool.
and then only then years later I saw it when it came out on VHS. And the interesting thing here in Australia, I'll show you here. They've just released a fantastic Blu-ray of the movie with some wonderful special features, discussions with Barry Bostwick to talk about the documentary that's coming out on the
There's a
film.
documentary coming out?
Yes, called it's called After Megaforce, that's directed by
Yeah.
Bob Lindenmayer, who's basically this Uber fan who's basically owns some of the vehicles and things like that, and
Oh,
it
okay.
looks really good. They've got a fantastic trailer to that. But the video for Megaforce in Australia, this was the cover. Okay.
Oh, okay. That's not what we saw. We just saw pictures of Barry. And then there's another
Yes.
one with a
There was
blackish background that had Persis Kambata on it.
so there
No,
was
that
that
looks
one as
cool.
well. And then of course
What
this
is it?
one.
Yeah, that's the one that was on the comic book
Yeah.
ads. That image, yeah.
Now I've got to say, Megaforce, it seems like a bit of a win-win for everyone. It's a family-friendly action movie. It's
Yeah.
a bit James Bond. It's a bit
It's bloodless.
superhero-y.
There's no blood. There's no violence.
Yeah, and this again predates. Well, I won't say predates, but it was around the time of the A Team, which followed that same
Yeah,
suit.
yeah, it
And
was.
around this time, 1982, this is when G.I. Joe, the real American hero action figures, really came out. And this is like a G.I. Joe movie, really, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. I was going to tell you that this is a precursor to the TV show, the animated TV show. I'll tell you what. When you said let's do Megaforce, I was all gung ho for it
Mm-hmm.
because I thought you meant the movie with Chuck Norris and Lee Marvin, and I went and rented it for $2.99. I'll send you the bill, and I'm watching it, and I'm going, geez, I did not see Persis Kambata's name on the opening credits. I saw Martin Balsam, I saw Joey Bishop, I saw George Kennedy, and I'm like, okay, this is what I remember. There's a desert. It opens up with a bunch of like commandos and, what's his name? Chuck Norris races back to save his guy because nobody's left behind. And, I'm like, this is pretty standard fare. And there's terrorists and they stop it. Everything's looking good. And then I'm like, wait a minute. She should have been in this movie by now. So
Yeah.
then I went to look and I looked up Persis Kambata, God rest her soul. And it was Megaforce. And then I realized what you tricked me into. You tricked me into watching Megaforce, which was joked about as a kid because we all knew how bad this movie came out to be. Unintentionally, I think everybody goes into this movie with their hearts in the right place, but it doesn't translate onto the screen. And what happened is it did bomb. I know it cost like 20 million to make. I think it barely made 5 million back.
$5.7 million it made at the
when
box
you're doing
office.
the 0.7, you're in trouble. And was that domestically, international? Was that?
I think
everything?
that's universally.
That's pretty bad. Now, with that said, Intravision is very innovative. The cars, they actually built those cars. Those are custom cars, and I think Hal Needham, the director, said it cost like $2 million to build those like dune buggy things and
Yeah,
the
and the motorcycles,
motorcycles.
which actually shot rockets and things like
Real
that.
rockets, like toy rockets, like those rockets you had as a kid that would go up and they were shooting them off the front of it and stuff. So yeah, they spent money. I don't know if they spent a lot of money on the lycra or the spandex that those guys were wearing, because
Yeah.
all I have to say is Mr. Bostwick. I see more of Mr. Bostwick than I can care because of the skin tight lycra and the way he stood often. And
So, well,
it
let's
must have been
say
hot.
that. Remember, Barry Bostwick is a Broadway performer, and he was essentially as Ace Hunter playing the Pirate King from Pirates of Penzance, and that is how he got cast. Hal Needham's wife saw Pirates of Penzance with Barry Bostwick. Barry Bostwick originated the role of Danny Zuko in Grease.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the Broadway stage.
Oh,
I'm not sure if he was there at the early stages when John Travolta was playing Kaniki on or off
yeah.
Broadway. And what he would do is he'd have his headband as the Pirate King, and he would throw he would choose someone, some attractive lady in the audience, and he would throw his headband to.
Most women like to get hit in the face with sweaty headbands.
That's right. Anyway, so this one matinee, he threw it, and it was to Hal Needham's wife, and Hal Needham's wife said, "I have found your Ace Hunter." She probably did say that after that.
Oh my God.
And I've got to say, he is. I love him as Ace Hunter. I think he's got this musical theater sort of persona. He's this is his first lead role.
Wait a minute.
First headline role.
Okay, I was going to say he was in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, he played Brad in Rocky Horror back in 1975. Okay. But he's a musical theater guy, so that's why he was very theatrical in all his moves. And he was basically a lot of them were making up the script as they go. Hal Needham, the ex stuntman director, they knew all the stunts, they knew exactly what they were going to do. The dialogue, not so much. They had an intention or they had an idea, and it was him, Michael Beck as well, who played Dallas. Yep. They were bringing up, making up a lot of the dialogue or workshopping it on the way there. I mean, who can forget? That's all Barry Bostwick, baby. That kiss.
I don't think a screenwriter could have come up with that move. Let me just tell you something.
Yes.
Knowing that now, that explains a lot of what's going on in the movie, the confusion. Because let's back it up. It starts off with a prologue with a black screen and there's really red on black.
It
It's
worked for
hard to
Blade Runner, same
It
year,
worked for Blade.
1982.
Funny that you say Blade Runner because the company that was involved with Blade Runner was also involved with this movie. I think so. I don't know, but all I know is
I can
somewhere
tell you
along
that Intravision, who did the wonderful effects, they worked on The Fugitive for that bus jump with Harrison Ford jumping off
well,
the
it
bus
worked well
when
in
it was hit
there.
by the train. So
Well, I'll tell you what. So it starts off with this introduction, like there has been rumor this super elite force of like soldiers of fortune and yada 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 with high technology and everything. You all right there, Barry?
sorry, just said
All right. I love your roaster chicken, by the way, and you were great in The Gambler. Coward of the County is still one of my favorite songs, Mr.
thank you.
Rogers.
I've got some paper here, but you know what? You got to really know how to fold them. So
And how to hold them.
yeah. Anyway, all
And
right, let's
Ed,
keep going.
always know
Let's
when to
keep
walk
going.
away and know when to run.
Don't make me count. Whatever you do, don't make me count because I'm scared of counting. I've often been known as the coward of the counting. But anyway, let's keep going.
Well, Ed,
We'll edit all that bit
you
out.
picked a fine time to leave me, Lucille. Anyway, he was great. Back to the movie. So we open up with this car pulling up in the middle of the desert, and inside we find the ghost from the Ghost of Mrs. Muir TV show,
And
Edward
Devon,
Mulhare.
and Devon from Knight Rider, of course, Edward Mulhare.
Oh, well, yeah, but I always knew him as the ghost from Ghost of Mrs. Muir.
as
I used to
Burn
watch
White.
that.
Yes,
Is what who?
as Burn White, the General Burn White. That's his name.
Oh, that's his name in the movie. I was going to say, I
Yes.
think he was just called the Captain with
No.
Hope Lang and Charles Nelson Riley and those little kids and
Oh.
Scruffy, the dog.
Anyway,
But anyway, he pulls up, and then well, who's with him? But Persis Kambata, who I knew as the Deltoid from Star Trek: The Motion Picture a couple years earlier. Except this time, this former Miss India was allowed to keep her luscious locks, and she had
Mhm.
beautiful black hair. And she comes out in a dress, and they're in the middle of the desert. And lo and behold, a rattlesnake creeping up on him, and then bang, it gets shot because out of nowhere, because no one notices anybody standing in a bleak, empty, vapid desert. Here comes Michael Beck from The Warriors. You know that film, if you remember that movie.
yes,
Do you remember
also
Michael from?
yes, also
What?
from Xanadu.
Oh God, yeah. How can I forget Xanadu?
How can you forget Xanadu? And
I
also
try.
from Battle Truck.
What?
I'm sure he's in Battle Truck. And
What the
he
hell's
plays-
Battle Truck? What is
He
Battle
plays
Truck?
he plays a role of Hunter, and I wonder if
Oh.
that's actually like a semi-fake sequel set in the future.
I don't
of,
know what that
Megaforce.
is.
You don't know what Battle Truck? Oh my! What
We
kind of
didn't have
show are we
Battle
running
Truck.
here?
We didn't have Battle Truck in the United States.
Well, it was called we called it Battle Truck. I don't know what it is.
You're gonna have to look. I've never heard of that movie. So anyway, he
But
shows up.
Before all that, you get
They kill the
this.
snake.
Hang on, after the yeah, but after the text, you see that
Yeah.
you are in is it oh my gosh, I've forgotten the name, Gamibia.
Yeah,
of the-
Gamibia.
yeah, where you see Henry Silva as Duke
Yes.
Era
Yes.
blowing up this beautiful model of
Oh yeah, we forgot about the
how can you
destruction of
forget
the
that
models.
beautiful model work.
Yeah. For the time, okay, look, this is obviously before CGI. This is before, high techy stuff. It was fine, old fashioned models that they were blowing up with like firecrackers and gunpowder. The only thing that always gives it away is when they do those large scale, it's supposed to be a large scale building, is a whole wall wouldn't move like that. It would just crumble. Why they didn't build it out of like sugar cubes so it just exploded is beyond me.
I think the model work was fantastic and
and-
better than some of the damn work in Superman the movie. That's for
Oh
sure.
God, yeah.
Anyway,
May I say, Return of the Jedi Jabba sail barge?
oh,
Oh no, it's a nice effect, but the problem with fire is you cannot control the proportions of fire and
yeah,
flame.
you can't miniaturize it.
You can't miniaturize. So when things blow up, if you keep the camera on too long, you'll see that the flame is about the size of one that's on your grill out on the deck, and that's what always gives away. You got to do it real quick. Got to do a quick edit. And on the Jabba sail barge, right towards the end, as they're pulling away in the skiff, like some of the stuff tumbles out, and you're like, wait a minute, if that was that big piece of metal, how come it looks so small and the flame looks so big? Anyway, I digress. But yes, Henry Silva, big bad guy in tons of movies. I knew him from
Killer,
Sharky's Machine.
Killer
That's what I was
Kane
thinking.
in
Killer Kane from Buck Rogers. Yeah.
yes,
Just passed away, I believe, not too long ago. He
yeah.
was like in his 90s. But he was one of those guys that was in. No, I'm thinking of the other guy, John Saxon, who also
Oh
had that
yes,
chiseled
yes,
look. They had the same face, like it could be like a molded mask or something. But anyway,
yes.
Dallas, go back to that. Dallas kills a rattlesnake. Poor snake. No animals were harmed during the production of this film. I don't believe that. So he talks about how, there ain't no ranks here in Megaforce. You're talking about the commander. Well, here you go. And he's got this little rebel flag that the South wore during the Civil War. Nowadays, a little taboo. Back then, they probably thought, good old boy.
Yep.
And, and then they have this hologram thing that they project onto rocks
Yep.
that shows a bunch of bikini-clad girls jumping
Just
around.
a girl in the Hawaiian Islands,
Don't know what that's all about. Like, desert
It's showing
porn.
that the technology is amazing, and that's when you get the reveal of these fantastic bikes with that cut. You get that cut. Where you see the rocket, and you see this, and you see that. It's like when Rambo is putting on his outfit and everything like that. It is fantastic. And there you see them, these balls flying in the air. They're not very
there's balls flying.
But you get to see them, and they're shooting them, and there is Ace Hunter jumpsuit, amazing hair, headband, beard, and those baby blue eyes,
and a butt that was molded into that outfit, because it's like there's no sweat coming off this guy. He's golden shiny like an Oscar. He just stands there, puts those hands on his hips, and you just know they had to do a lot of sound and dubbing work, because there was no way that thing didn't make crunching
no,
sound.
there is a scene in now I think it's maybe when he's in his silver outfit, when they're doing the those backlit red, and they're sort of silhouetted, and you can hear it go. This is in Dolby in DTS. You can really.
Oh wow, you're gonna get all that stuff. So anyway, the movie goes on. Edward Mull. It's actually, now that you told me that they were making up the dialogue, it explains why it's such a convoluted plot for a movie that's designed for children. I'm watching this. Okay, 56 years old. I don't know what the hell's going on at one point, because I'm like, wait, Mulhere's a general or something. He's gonna hire Megaforce because Silva is also like he's like the bad Megaforce mercenary, and he's working for the other country,
and they can't do anything. They need to get him on the right side of the right side of the border, basically, so they can take him into custody. So that's the plan.
That's the plan. Okay.
And you've got Persis Kambata, who also is a capable
general's
warrior,
daughter.
She wants to also basically join Megaforce, but basically Ace Hunter says, I'm sorry, no, we've got you can't do it. Though they start to have this romantic,
little misogynistic Megaforce. That's what it was really called, misogynist force. Yeah,
it is a little bit. Yes,
they go to their underground lair, and you hear,
oh my gosh, again, the effects are really good.
It's a big map painting, Ed, and he's like, this rivals the pyramids. It sure costs more money. Did it now? Did you have Israel's slaves build it for you? Is that what happened there, Megaforce? I wouldn't put it past Dallas. Racist little bastard. Anyway, the film's going on, and they get in like this bus, and you're going to tell me that's a cool effect? They just drove it off the mat, and you can just see it just like drive off into a tunnel.
You need to see this Blu-ray version. It is great. Okay.
Well, the version that's on Amazon Prime was kind of fuzzy, and that's why I was shocked, because I watched some YouTube documentary stuff, and it was a lot crisper. And I'm like, wait a minute, why am I not watching the 4K transition or translation?
This 1080p version is fantastic.
Oh no, this one was a blurry, almost like a VHS I thought I was watching the 80s all over again.
I spent $35 on this for our show, so there you go.
Well, in
So,
American money, that's like still too much. But anyway, I'm gonna go on with this movie. Okay, so then
all right.
there's obviously the training montage, and then they do this elaborate hologram where they show the plan with little dots. It was kind
Now
of like
that's really well done. I think the projection, the way they do that, it looks really good. Okay.
and then that
Again,
Porky
remember,
Pig thing shows up. Come on, man.
this is 1982. And remember their dress uniforms with
Oh,
those
the
big red
thing?
sashes.
Yeah, that was the Star Trek. Now, Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan was coming out that year too, and they had the same thing: a red jacket with the open sash of a white. Here they just did it with a purplish
Blue,
color,
and they had the red sash, yes, and
Yeah.
the cravat.
Yeah,
And the
oh
headband.
wow, that neckerchief, that's a whole other thing there too.
Oh, we should also say, don't forget Professor Eggstrom, who was in it, played by
That guy,
George Firth.
George Firth, yeah.
Now, do you know? Well, he's had many claims to fame, but did you know that he wrote the book for Company, the Stephen Sondheim musical?
I did not know that.
So he is Broadway royalty.
Were a lot of the cast members just like New York Broadway guys?
No, well, just Barry
was Edward
Bostwick
Mulhare
and
an actor?
sorry,
Stage actor?
well,
Was
Edward
Mulhare stage
Mulhare,
actor?
I suppose, was a stage actor in back in the day.
Yeah.
Can I point out there was one thing I just have to, because when we were watching it, we were sort of watching and going, this is like a fake. If you didn't know this was a real movie, you would think this was a modern fake parody of an 80s
SNL sketch, Saturday Night Live sketch.
You know, but funny.
Yeah.
Okay, because they're not really that funny. So, what? Well, that's my perspective.
Okay.
Anyway.
Oh no. So we're gonna. So.
But
I'm just.
can I just say?
Pick on
what,
it. Go ahead.
wait,
go ahead.
Wait.
Defend this movie.
Okay. No. I just wanted to point out. I have to take a screenshot of it off the Blu-ray because it is so funny when you see them leaving, the planes leaving, the three fantastic planes, and you see Persis Kambata away there. And then, the general, Edward Mulhare.
You're talking about that helicopter?
No. This is when they're taking off for that first mission. And then you see it, and then Edward Mulhare appears with wearing women's sunglasses. We absolutely cacked ourselves. It is the absolute funniest thing you've ever seen. And then I thought, no, I'm on the ride for this movie because everyone is just it's so theatrical and makes so little sense.
Yes.
But everyone seems to be having fun. And how can you not have fun?
Well, that's because there was a lot of cocaine back in the early 80s.
There was no cocaine on this show.
There was something going on in this movie because I don't know how.
Do you know how hot this spandex is? It's
kids, close your eyes. Don't look.
This is not made for kids. It's okay.
Anyway, so it goes on where they do this training mission, and then they have now, for some reason, to show that she's as tough as badass as the rest of the team, they decide to go skydiving.
Yes.
And the most blue screen skydiving effect I've seen since like Roger Moore jumped out of the thing with Jaws. And no, come on.
Can I just say, hang on. All right.
What?
So the actual real skydiving is quite impressive, what they do and the camera work. And
it is. The stunt work. Yeah.
And again, this film,
real skydive.
Yeah, I know. This film is, it also wants to be a bit of a James Bond movie, I feel.
Yeah.
And they actually, during that love theme, when they're flying and everything like that, there's a link to Superman because they use the Zoptic effects that they used for Superman the movie. That was the same effects. Obviously not done as well as Superman flying, but they did use that. And they were going to have lyrics done to that, to the
love theme to Megaforce.
Yes, they were. And they actually were going to get I think it was Carly Simon to
oh my,
do the
that
lyrics.
Would have cost money. That would have cost money.
They didn't do it.
Now,
can I just say, while I'm thinking of song lyrics, let's not forget the awesome.
No, I was gonna get to the soundtrack.
Okay, all right. I just don't want to miss that out.
That's one of the pluses. But
I'm gonna have a drink. This is itching me like you would not believe.
Okay, all right, there you go, there, Mr. Bostwick. So anyway, Ace Hunter, when they're tumbling through and they do the close-ups and their blue screen and they're holding hands and the parachutes, and then they go on with the mission, and then they decide to do another training montage where they put her in this looked like a golf cart. and tank, and she's shooting like video games, like an arcade, and then she proves herself, and then they leave to go in this like cool looking helicopter, I guess. But then they have a dinner scene, and again, this might be made up dialogue too because it makes no sense whatsoever. I didn't bring my Zippo lighter, but he says, "Why do you hate?" Is it Duke? Is that Silva's name?
Yeah, Duke Guerrera.
Yeah, yeah. Why do you hate Guerrero so much? Well, because he stole my lighter. I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean, but anyway, it's because they're fighting over a cigarette lighter.
It's
So
it's
what?
hilarious. It's really
It's
really funny.
it's insane. Okay, if you go and watching this movie, see that's the problem. You're going along as it's funny comedy. I'm going in as it was meant to be serious because I could picture myself being like, what, 82, about 14 years old, watching this, thinking it's a serious James Bond, epic movie. When is it supposed to be a parody? Is it supposed to be a
It was
cornball?
supposed to be just a family friendly
Yeah.
good guys versus bad guys. And I think
Well,
again it got lost in there was ET, there was Tron,
oh
not that that did really, there was the thing,
no,
there was Star Trek 2, there was Blade Runner, there
yeah.
was what else was
Oh, the
82? Rocky
1982
was
was a
Rocky
magic.
3,
Yeah.
82? As
No, that was 83.
okay.
No, no, no,
There
no.
was
Rocky 3 was 83.
there was a
Yeah,
lot of it just got lost in the
it did.
shuffle. And I
I'll
think
give you that.
if I would have seen that as I was 12, okay, I
Yeah.
think I would have had more fun watching this than Blade Runner as a
Oh
12-year-old.
well, no, I'll give you that. Blade Runner was dark and depressing because I remember seeing that going, "Oh my god, I want to kill myself," and I don't even know why. But this
And
was,
they had the things that could change color by, you touch them. I thought that was really cool.
oh yeah, the camouflage effect on the Jeep or whatever you
Yeah.
call it. You cover it up and it turned the color, whatever. All right, so there's a big battle. I'll just go through it. There's no plot to this movie. They have a big explosions with tanks, and then the Megaforce shows up, and there's these giant C-45 Hercules aircraft that are amazingly filmed, like
Yeah.
just barely,
Three
10
of
feet
them they
off the
have.
ground. Three of them in formation. I'm like, and this is not, blue screen. This is real deal. So somehow they talked the government to loaning them these giant airplanes, these huge freaking planes, and it's amazing how they're flying so well. And then Megaforce has this battle, and they're fighting each other. But you got to say, when they do the rainbow smoke and they go
Well,
across the desert, I don't know what's going on at this point.
I
I'm
think
like,
it's pretty progressive. You've got the gay pride, you've got the gay pride parachute of Ace Hunter.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. You've got the
Back
gay
then,
pride.
they just called it a rainbow colored parachute.
All right. So I don't know, but you put a 2023 lens on.
You put a 2023
hey,
spin on it. Okay,
that's
sure.
pretty progressive. And I'm sure Hunter swings both ways. Yeah, I'm sure
Oh,
I saw him swinging in that.
I think
in that,
he swings multiple ways.
I think you
don't
can
know what's
tell
going
in that Lycra anyway. So it
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
matter.
but then the other thing, we got an international cast. We didn't even mention that. So you've
Yes.
got Persis Kambata, you've got Edward Mulhare, so
Mulhare.
you get the English,
Yep.
and then there's an Asian actor. He's one of the Megaforce team, and then there's like an Italian guy with a mustache. Like, hey, what's going on? I'm gonna go to the ghost. So I'm like,
You've got the
whatever.
pilot who I've forgotten his name, Rob. I think it's Robert, who was played the doctor in Emergency. So he
Oh
was
yeah,
in.
yeah,
So he was
yes,
there. You've
yeah.
got a cameo by director Hal Needham, who was in the
Hal Needham is like the control guy when he's like
yeah.
launching, and I'm watching it going, that's Hal Needham. What's going on here? And I don't think he's billed in the credits with the
No.
cast, but I'm like, no, not just a little part. He's in the movie
No,
for a good
it's
15
he did
minutes.
break. I think he broke his leg or
He did. He did
fractured
one of the
his
stunts
leg.
on the motorcycles, and he was laid up. So maybe that's they put him there. Don't spend any
But
more money on this.
but yeah, you've got a
But
real international team. It is.
it ends, and here's the funny thing about Megaforce and Hal Needham. Let's go. We didn't even talk about the history of this. When they made this movie, the idea of it, originally it was written to be a television show, like a pilot. And Needham comes on board and says, I think this could be bigger and more grand. Let's turn it into a movie. Wait, let's not turn it into one movie. Now, I've heard contradictory stories because he spoke to Starlog magazine back in the day, which was our internet.
Mm-hmm.
He says either it was going to be a 3 movies or a 4 movie series. and they wanted to introduce Ace Hunter and the Megaforce team, and it was going to be this international super commando squad that would go around the world and save us from the evil bad guys with this elaborate high-tech, trucks and motorcycles and helicopters and all that stuff. But you got to be good with the first one before you can do the multiple sequels. They had toys. The people from Mattel, they were making the cars. Mattel even designed the uniforms. That's why they look so much like a comic bookie, because they probably look good on action figures, but in reality, you're gonna get your ass sweating.
I don't know. I think I look pretty good.
Right there. Well, So anyway, lofty plans, elaborate delusions of grandeur, and then what happens? It comes out, and we all said it doesn't do well. But I got to tell you this, and I'm not, spoiler alert, if you've never seen Megaforce, you're lucky. The end of the movie, when the airplane's taken off and Barry Bostwick as Ace Hunter is still left behind and needs to get onto the plane, through the magic of his motorcycle, it suddenly sprouts wings, gets jets, and it flies in one of the worst blue screen effects I've ever seen in my life. And not only does this motorcycle defy aerodynamics by flying, he does a barrel roll.
Okay.
And then I'm going to tell you, he breaks the fourth wall, because I think even Barry Bostwick realized how ludicrous this was, because as he's doing that motorcycle, there's a look on his face when he looks right in the camera, and it's kind of like, oh my. And he just does the spin, and he comes on board the plane, credits roll.
So, you basically got the idea. Look, earlier on, Eggstrom, he kept talking to Eggstrom about, press 1, press 2 at the start. So it was foreshadowed. You knew something was going to happen with it. It didn't just happen out of happenstance.
It was like the flying bikes at ET.
And how cool, a flying motorbike with rockets? Come on. I don't, Mitch, what's going on?
No, it was cool. The 14-year-old Mitchie might have been like, it's all right.
It is, look.
The 56-year-old me's like, what the?
They were going to definitely make, I think, 3, and the second sequel was, the first sequel was going to be called, Deeds, Not Words. That was going to be the actual.
I've heard that. Yeah, that's their tagline. Yeah.
And again, they didn't make, you would think, we talk about merchandise. This seems like, they say toyetic. This seems like a perfect toyetic line.
Well,
Mattel made cars, but they only made about 6, I think. Sort of like Matchbox cars, or Mattel Hot Wheels cars.
Hot Wheels, yeah.
And they are worth quite a bit today. All right.
Really?
So yes, they are. You can't. The thing is, though, with Hot Wheels, what they often do is they reuse the models, and change the caps. So you can still get some of those vehicles, but not Megaforce ones for a lot cheaper. They were going to do action figures, but they didn't get beyond the prototype stage.
No, there were some other Megaforce tie-ins. There was a video game. Not only was
Atari. On here, footage of the Atari 2600 video.
You know who does the commercial for it?
Bryan Cranston.
Bryan Cranston, a young Bryan Cranston, is playing
they've got that commercial on the Blu-ray.
Oh, on the Blu-ray. Okay, dude, that was just like, oh my God, really him? He's playing this? Okay.
Yep. So it's a bit like Defender. It's not too bad.
I know, but there was another. I could have swore they had another tie-in.
There was
Lunchbox?
not. There's nothing. No
board game. No trading cards. Nothing.
Not that I can.
It wasn't even a comic book.
Well, it appeared in enough comic books, but
whoa, wait a minute. Now the soundtrack, the synthesized music. I know this music played. We talked about this here when I was talking about this. That was on the radio a lot out here. I don't know how much payola there was, how much cocaine there was. They put that Megaforce theme song. You heard that thing on the summer.
I think it was the band. I think it was 707 was the band.
707 was, but it got re-recorded by Journey, and somebody else re-recorded the theme song.
I think Ace Frehley did from Kiss.
Ace Frehley, that's right. Frehley in the Comets, yes.
But how cool! It's like your Hunter of the Future, which has got a cool. Remember that? Which has got a
Red
cool
Brown. That's the Red Brown, man. You can't
a cool theme song. And our ad is absolutely great. And if I can play some of it during this without getting, a content match, I will
I don't
indeed.
think that YouTube would care.
No, they probably wouldn't. So that
No,
was
but no. Here's what the movie doesn't work for me.
okay.
It has this great music soundtrack. There are whole scenes, sections, minutes go by with no background score, and when there's no music in a movie, it better be a dramatic film that you wouldn't expect to see music in the background of like the French Connection or
Yes.
something. But when you're doing a pop comic booky movie, you should always have that little din 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 din.
Now, actually, you bring up that the A-Team theme. I
Yes,
reckon the A-Team theme ripped off.
shut up.
No, listen.
Just go. Just Mike Post never ripped off anybody.
Okay, because there are elements of the A-Team theme in this score.
No, the A-Team came out on Super Bowl Sunday, January 1983. Oh,
This was 1982.
You could be right.
Seriously, even
No,
Kelly.
you're right, because I was going to say that's not possible, but now that I think about it,
She
yeah,
was
this
going, that sounds like the A-Team. And I go, yeah, it does, actually. If I can, again, what I'll do, I'll go back and watch the movie.
You.
And if I can find it, I will play a bit of it. But
No, some of the other good things it had going for it. Barry Bostwick's hair was a star on it to its own.
oh my God,
That beard and that hair, dude, I don't know what was the mousse that he used. Was that a wig or was that?
He was essentially look. That was his Pirate King look, So,
Okay, I was gonna say, was that really him?
yeah.
100% pure.
And one
Bostwick.
thing I read him saying that he thought keeping the beard and everything like that, because if he does other film roles, he can always shave it off and he'll look
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So
No, I'll give you that. So he looked something, and the lycra, the headband was genius.
yes.
Only three people could pull off a headband back in the 80s. You ready? Olivia Newton-John, Sylvester Stallone as Rambo, and Barry Bostwick as Ace Hunter. Those three people owned headbands. Maybe Charlie Sheen in that Platoon or whatever that was he did.
What about Ralph Macchio?
Oh, Karate Kid. Yeah, all right. I'll let you have that one.
Okay.
But that's it. But it's not easy to pull off a headband because you got to do it just right. If you do it too much, it's like Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
You got to do it. He had different color ones too. I think he had color coordinated headbands, like they matched his outfits. But
they all just changed color. That was the beautiful.
But
thing,
no,
how they could...
years later, Hal Needham begrudgingly admitted it was a turkey of a movie.
Well,
even though he had high hopes for it, he kind of said, "Well, the finished product was a bit lacking." So
I personally love this film. I think it's great fun. It is. There's an element of the so bad it's good, I think, but I just like the I like the inventiveness of the visual effects. I think with that intravision where they could actually walk in front of and behind.
Yeah, what was that? It was rear projection.
It was rear and front projection. So they would make a model and then they would do it all. So the actors would. You know what? Actually, I was saying to Kelly, intravision is the precursor of the volume.
The volume. I was just thinking. I knew you were going to say that.
They used it on that. They used it on Outland with Sean Connery.
Oh, I love that movie. That's what
they used it on. We should do that.
I like Outland.
Yeah, that's High Noon in Space, really, isn't it?
I know. I know.
Anyway,
this is crap on the desert. So
yeah. Whatever. So I thought the visual effects were great. I do reckon you should get Barry Bostwick and Michael Beck for.
Well, Michael Beck is easily found all over the place around here. I think he still is in New York City because he's at a lot of local conventions with the Warriors because he was in that film. And obviously Monster Truck or whatever the hell you were talking about.
Battle Truck.
Whatever. And then Barry Bostwick, see, I was thinking of getting Barry Bostwick, not for a Megaforce, but more of a Spin City, Pirates of Penzance, or Rocky Horror. But, he is Ace Hunter for the 6 people that watch this film.
Listen,
But no, you're right. It did become a cult classic on VHS, and so much it even inspired the guys from South Park when they made their
yes,
movie Team America, what was done with puppets. But
yep,
basically, that is Megaforce done as a farce, which
correct.
kind of like is the same thing, you know.
Well, if Kelly's going, when she saw me dressed as this, she go, "Is this your next comedy festival show?" And I go, "I could do Megafarce."
Oh
How
God, it
perfect
writes itself. That's what
it
I was thinking.
does,
Yeah, yeah.
which is ironic because Megaforce didn't write itself, so I think that's
No, they
quite
wrote
good.
it for it. Yeah,
But I'd look, I thoroughly recommend at least seeing it once. And
yeah.
again, if you
Sober.
well, if you can get a copy of the
Don't.
Blu-ray that's just been released, it's
Don't.
also got. I'm like I didn't I bought this out of my own money and everything like that. But it's got a commentary. It's got commentary
Wait,
by
wait,
Barry
wait.
Bostwick.
Stop a minute. Are you
Yeah,
trying to say that Megaforce outfit you have was bought not for the show?
I just had it.
Okay, go on. What about the
Anyway,
show?
it's got a 40-minute audio interview with Barry Bostwick. It's got a commentary. Oh, it's got an 2019 interview with Barry Bostwick and Michael Beck, which is really good. It's got
Mhm.
audio commentary by Barry Bostwick that you can listen to.
What
It's
about
got
How
a
Needham?
trailer. It's got looks at the video game, look at the restoring the vehicles and everything like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
It's great fun. It's a good party movie. I reckon this would be great to
Okay.
have.
If you were
Um,
on hallucinogenics, sure.
and the lines in it. Okay,
Yeah.
remember, good guys always win, even in the 80s. I mean, is a fantastic line. You
Did
love
he
him in
think of
blue.
this?
You love him in
Is
red.
this improv?
Yes.
Okay. No,
Love
but
him in blue. Love him in blue. Love him
no,
in
I
red. But you always love
we
him in blue.
digress. You didn't mention Hal Needham. Is there anything on there with Hal Needham? He's no longer with us, obviously, but
No, there's not. I mean, they mentioned him.
yeah. And Persis
But
Kambata unfortunately passed away in 1998 at the young age of 42, if I believe.
I think it was
Complications.
48. She had a massive heart attack.
Yeah, yeah. She had a heart attack. I think she was getting open heart surgery, if I remember, and she died in recovery. So it wasn't, wasn't pretty. But she's
Yeah.
pretty. She's gorgeous
Yes.
in this movie. Yeah,
And she
former
was
Miss
also
CBS.
in Nighthawks with
She's in
Sylvester
Nighthawks
Stallone.
too with Sylvester Stallone, Billy D. Williams, and Rutger Hauer, which is another
Yes.
good movie that came out right around the same time, if I think.
81, I
81.
think Nighthawks
Yeah,
was, if I
that's a
recall
good
correctly.
movie. See, for every bad movie you make me watch, we should do a good movie. Okay.
Well, I think we've spoken quite a long time on this,
We
actually.
have about it. Who knew that Megaforce brought out
I think Megaforce is fantastic. It's great fun. It's worth watching at least once. And again, if you want to watch it in the best possible way with full on Dolby surround and in high def if you can.
or your high def.
Yes,
But anyway, it's a movie.
it is.
That's all I'll say.
And Mitch, how can you find out about other movies that we have covered here on Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure?
Oh, Ed is as easy as jumping on a motorcycle and hitting that button that we told you not to hit, when rocket engine shoot out your butt and you take off in the sky by simply pressing the subscribe button below. And you too will be subscribed to Mitch and Ed's Excellent Adventure, and hit the notification bell so you'll know when we go on another Megaforce trip all across the YouTube.
That's
and then
right.
hit the like button, because we had to watch this movie, so we deserve something. So hit that like button. And that's
Excellent.
all I have. Australia.
Excellent. Fantastic.
That be your name?
Actually, just
Sydney?
who I thought this would be right for a reboot. Get Chris Hemsworth as Ace Hunter's son. Wouldn't that be
Okay.
great?
Yeah, Space Hunter. Oh, that was a
Adventures
movie,
in the
too.
Forbidden Zone.
Adventure in the Forbidden Zone with
Molly Ringwald,
Molly
and,
Ringwald,
and
and Richard
Peter
Strauss.
Peter Strauss. Did you say
Peter
Richard Strauss? That's the
His brother.
composer.
He had some, and that was in 3D. I saw that.
It was. I saw it in 3D as well.
I did too. We
Was
were the only two
Michael
people.
Ironside? No, that was the.
He was
that
Yeah, no, he was in it.
No, that was Metal Storm. I'm thinking Metal Storm, the destruction.
I was thinking
of
the
Jared
Quickening.
Sin.
Highlander too.
Anyway. All right, that's all we got time for. I need to get out of this lycra, so I'm going to slowly reveal myself.
Oh my.
We'll see you next time. Okay, take care and bye for now.